Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, I want to say today I was reading from Joshua 24. And in Joshua 24, Joshua was telling the people, like, okay, he started explaining to them everything that God had brought them through, everything that God had done for them. And he was explaining to them, he was saying, God brought you through the floods. God brought you through when the people kept rising up against you. God kept showing up and he's done all this for you. And then he came to a point, he said, now choose this day whom you will serve. So that's going to be my topic for today. I'm not going to keep you guys long, just give you a quick word. So when I was reading Joshua 24 and it had came across my mind and he was saying, choose this day whom you will serve. And we have to be refreshed and reminded of that, even as this day of time. After God done did everything, all kinds of miracles for you, he done brought you through when you couldn't pay that bill, or when you didn't know where your help was going to come from, other than you had to look to the hills and know that God was going to show up. The people that you depended on, they let you down. People that crossed you out, but you never gave up. You knew where to go to. A lot of people understand that to call on God, to get on your knees and pray and talk to God and let him show up for you. And then some people, they'll be like Pharaoh. God will show up for them, and after God show up for them and they done got through that situation, then they have a tendency to forget God again. They'll forget, and then they'll go back to their old ways. So it's just like in Joshua 24. So he had to start reminding these people, like, okay, you've been doing all this stuff that you wasn't supposed to be doing, and I prayed for you, and God brought you through it. And then the moment God brought you through it, you went back to doing the same thing again, your old ways. So now Joshua has called all of them together. He's called the judges. He's called, all the people, and telling them like who basically gonna be the leader over them. And he's saying, now y'all gotta make a choice, because basically I've been here with you. I've prayed. I've asked God to do, these things for you. And the moment that God does stuff for you, you'll go right back and start doing the same thing again. So Joshua is telling them, like, y'all got to choose today who you're going to serve. Either you're going to serve man or you're going to serve God. But you got to choose. I'm sorry, something's on my eye. I can see it. Either you're going to choose man or you're going to choose God. And so, and after, he started detailing it out, the people say, okay, we're going to choose God because we understand what you're saying. Dad. And I noticed that as I kept reading it, when you get towards the end, you notice that it's basically Joshua was in like his last days. So he's reminding them all the things that they need to understand and take into account. Because at this point, he's like, I'm in my last days. And I'm not going to be able to continue to come back and show up for you and do the things I've done, because, it's this is it. This is the finality for me, because after Joshua had told him and reminded him all these things, it says he died. So, and I say that today to say this: at some point in your life, you got to start taking accountability. You got to start realizing that mama, grandma, great grandma, like, you living off other people's prayers. These people are the people that prayed for you. But at some point, you got to start praying for yourself, because now you're going to have generations coming up under you. And what prayers are they going to have? Or lessons are they going to learn if you never stop and take accountability for your own actions and choose who you going to serve? You either going to serve man or you going to serve God. And we all know the best answer to that, because yes, you can keep serving man, but it's going to be like being in a rat race. And you wonder why, like, the more I do, it seems like nothing never changes or nothing ever happens. Or, I feel like I'm taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps backwards. But when you start to serve God, you get consistency. Things start happening for you. And then he was telling him, he said, y'all have chosen to serve all these other gods. And I got to let you know that God is a jealous God. He'll have no other God before him. So all these other gods that you served and you called on them and they haven't shown up for you, but you want to continue claiming these gods. But you want the benefit of my God that continuously show up and continuously make things happen for you. But you don't want to serve him. You want to serve these other gods. And so he was explaining that to them. And everything that's in the Bible, and a lot of people say, well, that was back then. No, it's nothing new under the sun. The Bible tell you that. So the same thing that was applicable back then is still applicable now. So you can't keep serving these other gods, whether it be, a god can be anything. You can make a god out of anything. And you'll start serving it and worshiping it and not realizing that the true and living God, you're not serving him. You're not giving him any credit. The only time you want him is when you're in a situation or you need something. And then it's like, oh, I need, can you go pray for me? We got those kind of people. The first time thing, when everything they've done is not working for them, they'll come to the people and say, well, to prayer warriors, let me say prayer warriors. Will you pray for me? Will you do this for me? And then, as soon as that person get them through, they back doing the same thing again. And then it's back again. So this is where you have to, just like Joshua did, this is where you have to stop people and say, listen, I done prayed to my God. I got you through that. You got through it. You came back. You gave me the report. And you was doing great. Next thing you know, you back on the same track again. You fall back again. Then that's not being repentant. Then you have to call people to order and say, look, now, you seen what God done did for you. Now you got to choose this day. Choose today. Either you're going to stay on that path and keep serving the God that that keeps showing up when you in the worstest conditions. Or yes, you can continue to serve your God or the world or man or whatever you decided to make a God for you. Because a God can be many things. But when you get in those tough situations, don't get to the point that God hardened his heart and won't do what you ask. Because if you don't believe it, that's why God love when God say, have you not read or didn't you see the ones before you? But you will still keep doing things that I've told you not to do. Or you will keep thinking that God is something, a joke, like a light switch. You can turn him on and off when you want to. Well, just like Pharaoh, God hardened his heart against him. And God said, I've given you chance after chance. I've showed up, did things, and showed you that it was me. But you keep thinking that I'm a light switch. So God will harden your heart. The same way he did Pharaoh, he'll do it to you. He'll harden your heart, and by the time you really want to change, you won't be able to change. It'll be too late. Because now God knows that you feel like if I get you through that situation, you're gonna be happy, and then you're gonna go back and do it again. So God will give you so much grace and so much slack. And then after a while, he'll harden his heart. This is nothing new. If you don't believe it, go back and read the book. Go back and read about Pharaoh. Pharaoh played with God so many times to God harden his heart. And he wanted to change. He wanted to do what was right. But God said, no, it's too late. I gave you so much grace and you didn't want to do that. And it's a lot of people. If you can relate to that or you understand that, then let me know in the chat. Leave a comment. Or, if you agree and you know that the word is true, leave a 1 in the chat. Leave a 1 in the chat and say, or just say amen. Or you can put your thumb up. Okay, because we all know that one thing about the word of God is true. That's the only word that stands. It's been standing for over 2,000 years, but we still got people that'll question whether it's right or wrong. But it's still, if this is the only word that's still standing to this day, because one thing God said, he don't care what God they serve and what they do. Every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. Not might, every tongue. I don't care who you are. If you are in this human flesh body, I don't care who you are, what color you are, what creed you are, what race, what background, what God, other God you serve. It don't matter. You will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. That is just, that's a done final stamp. God said it, and it is so. So you guys have a great day. I don't want to keep you long. I just want to give you that word. That's in Joshua. Read the Joshua 24 if you want to read it, so you can study to show yourself approved unto God. A workman need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the truth. So I'll tell you where I get my scriptures from. You can go back and you read it for yourself and study for yourself so that you will know. Because iron sharpen iron. I ain't said it. God said it. And that settles it. So whenever I bring you the word, I'm going to give it to you. I tell you where I got it from. It's up to you to go study it so that you'll understand it. And then that settles it. It doesn't matter who mouth it come out of. When once God said it, it's over with. Like the old folks used to say, I love, you have to go back to them teachers. They used to say, it's in the red, it's in the red. But now it's in the book. It's in the book. So I always read from the King James Version of the Bible. And I also like to go back to the Strong Concordance because that gives you the root of the words from Arabic, Hebrew, and Greek. So study so that you'll have sound doctrine. Y'all have a great, blessed day, and I'll see you again on the next one.